Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Love and Lore podcast, the podcast where we spread love through sharing our stories and life lore. And I'm literally laughing so hard because of my setup. I cannot take this seriously right now. If you are watching the on camera version, you can see I'm in my closet and I cannot take this seriously, but it's so much fun. It is such a party in here, and I hope you guys enjoy this one because we're going to be talking about my love and lore. We're going to be talking about my experiences with boys, with crushes, my stance on romance and relationships, because a lot of this month has been focused on other people's experiences and other people's stories, but I never talk about my own love life situation. So I hope this episode is entertaining and that you guys learn something new about me. So let's start off with my stance on love as a whole and relationships. To be honest, guys, I am the least romantic person you could ever think of. I am not romantic at all. I am delusional though, which is really interesting and really weird to me, but I will get into that later. But no, I'm not really a romantic person. I've never really wanted a relationship, nor have I ever thought about being in a, well, I have, but it's never been like a priority for me. I've never felt the need to be in one. And whenever my friends got into relationships, I just never felt jealous. I never really felt like let down because of that. And I think I can credit my parents for this and my family because growing up, I was always so loved and I never felt the need to, or I never felt like I needed love from anyone else. If you know me personally, you know that I love being independent. You know that I don't really want a relationship. I've never wanted one. I get really icked out easily. And something that you also might know about me, if you know me personally, is that I am a very delusional girl. I'm a very delusional person. I love having crushes. I like to giggle with my friends about situations that happen at work or at school or on the bus. Like, it's kind of concerning. Like, I overthink a lot of interactions. I'm just very giggly like that. I don't know. But I just think that's so interesting because even though I am so delusional, just don't want a relationship. And a lot of my friends tell me it feels like, oh, you've just haven't found the one yet. To which I reply with, yeah, like, sure, but still, I don't picture myself having a boyfriend. I don't picture myself being in a relationship. I don't even picture myself having kids or being married. Like, I just want to live on my own in my own little apartment, be an independent girl. And yeah, maybe I just haven't found the one yet. But as for right now, I just need to preface by saying I am so happy with where I am right now. I love being single. I wouldn't want to be with anyone else other than myself. And again, big credits to my parents because they've always made me feel so loved. They continue to make me feel so loved. So I'm just very grateful and lucky that I get to even say this and that I have a very strong relationship with myself. But I will say it hasn't been perfect. It isn't perfect at all. Like, I still definitely have my days, and I will dive into a more deeper side of this later on in the episode. But just disclaimer, I am totally 100% happy with where I am in life right now, and I love myself, period. Okay, let's jump into my love and lore. So I was pretty little. I was still living in the Philippines when I had my first crush, and he was actually an actor from Barney, and his name was Danny. Before recording this episode, I actually did search him up, the actor for Danny, and just checked up on how he was doing, and also just to look back at the old clips of him. He actually does have some stuff about him online. Like, he has his own famous birthdays page, and I realized that I was pronouncing his name wrong my entire life. His name was actually Danny, but I've been pronouncing it as Denny. But yeah, he was my first ever crush. He was a cute little Asian boy and he had bangs. He had like a bowl cut, I'm pretty sure. And whenever he got on screen, I would yell, Denny, really loud, and my parents knew about this. Like, I yelled this in front of them. I got so excited whenever he got screen time. It looks like he was a main character, like one of the main characters, but to me, he had not as much screen time as the others. So I guess that mysterious aspect of him really made me fall in love with him. Like, Sophie knew she liked the mysterious boys when she was little, but yeah, I would get so excited whenever I saw him. It actually became an inside joke with my family. Like, whenever he got on screen, my parents would tease me, and I got really embarrassed and really mad. And I don't know, it's just really funny to look back on. But yeah, that was my first crush, a actor on Barney. My first actual crush, though, oh my gosh. So this was in Canada. So fast forward to a few years later, I was 6 years old. This boy was a boy from my second grade class, and I actually do still follow a lot of the people in my second grade class. So if they find out who this is, hey. I remember the first time I fell in love with him. I looked in his direction, and then he was kind of like leaning towards my direction and smiling. And it looked like he was smiling at me, but he just leaned forward with the most precious, like, smiley face. At that moment, I was head over heels in love, and that's where it all began. That stupid damn stare was the reason that I fell in love with this boy. And ever since that moment, I just had the biggest crush on him. It was bad. Like, it was really bad. But no, I'm glad that I had that experience, and we never talked either. One thing about me, from when I was little all the way till now, to be honest, I don't have a lot of guy friends. I never had a lot of guy friends. Not a lot of guys paid attention to me growing up in elementary school or in high school. I literally did not know how to talk to guys and never talked to him. I guess I was too shy, but also I just never talked to any boys. I only had girlfriends. But yeah, never talked to him, just admired him from a distance. And it's so funny because there was this one activity, it was a reading activity, and we ended up being partners. And it's so funny because when I found out that I was going to be paired up with him, I pretended to be so pissed off. I pretended to be so disgusted. I went like, ugh, girl. I knew he did not want to be partners with me though. Like, he was so dry during that reading activity. I was literally freaking out the entire time. He actually stayed as my crush, I think, up until maybe 4th or 5th grade. Maybe 4th grade. But that was my first ever crush, guys. Crazy. Oh my goodness. But yeah, hi second grade crush if you're listening to the Love and Lore podcast. Okay, so for the entirety of elementary school, I had 6 crushes total. And yes, I did count this. And I know this is insane, but guys, I can assure you now, I did not talk to any of them. And I wasn't really friends with any of them either. And I knew damn well they did not like me back, okay? They were basically my crushes from a distance, you know? But you know, every single interaction, big or small, it made me so happy, made me really giddy and excited. And that's just the joys of life, right? It's the joys of having a crush. It makes going to school so much fun. But no, again, I did not talk to any of them. And even if something did end up happening, I don't think I would have done anything. Again, they were just crushes from a distance, okay, guys? The third crush out of these 6 people, though, so for PE, we were playing volleyball, and he said that I was the best server. And he was also a pretty good volleyball player, so my heart melted. I probably thought about that interaction for like 6 months straight. And a bit of more lore actually. So for my grade 7 year, we had to move to a different school, and obviously that means more people. And I had crushes on 3 of the boys from that school. And guys, again, I'd never talked to them. They probably didn't even know I existed, okay? I know they did not like me. And I don't know, they were just cute, okay? I would always see them on the basketball court, and like every single time, like my friends and I at lunchtime, we would always walk around the park. I would always be staring at them, and oh my god, that's so embarrassing. For one of them, actually, he liked my friend. And it's so funny because my friend and I both liked him too. But I knew damn well he was not going to want to be with me. So I was just kind of cheering on the 2 of them and helping them out, which I didn't mind at all. Like, there was no chance for me anyways. So I was very much happy to have supported them too. I also may or may not have gotten blocked from him too on Snapchat. I don't remember what the lore was here, but there we go. I'm trying to think of any scenarios or situations where something did happen. Oh my god, I remember something just now. This is how you know I stay loyal to my crushes, okay? So there was this one time where there was like this newspaper activity where you can stay inside the classroom during lunchtime to do some newspaper thing. And I remember a lot of the class actually did stay inside lunchtime to do this, but I remember specifically not wanting to do that because I wanted to. This is so embarrassing. I wanted to have time to admire my crush playing basketball on the basketball court. Basically, I would much rather be watching him playing basketball than me doing an activity in the room with newspapers with the rest of the class. But yeah, other than that, honestly, nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was just a fun time. And yeah, again, like up until this point, even though I did have so many crushes, I never wanted a relationship. I never wanted anything romantic. Never, like nothing like that. Which is going to be a reoccurring theme with my high school crushes, and as I got older, you will notice this pattern. So even if something did end up happening, I probably never would have let it turn into a relationship. So yeah. All right, so I think we can get into high school now. So in high school, I actually had 2 really big crushes and like a few talking stages. I'd say like 1 or 2 talking stages. So a big big dip from my elementary love life there. But guys, honestly, like the people in my high school, there wasn't really a lot to work with, if I'm gonna be honest. So this first crush, Oh my goodness. My first high school crush. I actually met him in my first week of grade 8, which is so cute that I met someone so early, but he was in my grade 8 social studies class. He was actually late to the first day of social studies class, and he sat on the table next to me. This is so weird. It feels like I'm saying this right to his face because he might be listening. But he sat on the table right next to me, and I didn't really get to analyze his face that much because I didn't want to look at him straight up right away, right? But I remember just thinking, like, wait, like, he's kind of cute. But yeah, a few minutes pass, and he turns around, and then he asks me, "What does BCE mean?" To which I respond, "Before Common Era?" And I was like, oh my gosh, he just asked me a question. But yeah, that was my first ever interaction with him. And he was actually really, really sweet. Really, really sweet guy. And I'm pretty sure we talked a little bit after that too. And yeah, after that first day, it was just downhill from there. I was obsessed. I fell in love with him. And he was really smart. He was really kind. He was good looking. Like, he ticked off all the boxes for me. When I tell you, I was so excited to go to class every single day. Like, I have never been more motivated in my life to go to a class. It was so bad. I would also get so nervous. My tummy would literally ache because I was so nervous to see him. And the fact that he was also sitting next to me, it was just insane. I was so nervous every single time, but I was also so excited. There is an annual talent show at our school, and he actually gave me his ticket to watch the talent show. And I wasn't going to go because I didn't want to buy one myself. He gave me his for free for some reason, and I ended up going. And I actually got to see, because of that ticket, I got to see my role model dance on stage. There was this one girl in grade 12 who was a dancer, and I looked up to her so much. And she was graduating that year, so I never would have been able to see her dance live if it weren't for that ticket. Yeah, like, it was insane. So I'd like to thank my crush for the ticket. And it's so, oh my goodness, like, I remember the next day he asked me how the talent show was. And you know what I said, guys? I said, it was good. Guys, who did I think I was? Like, I was trying to be so nonchalant and cool, but looking back now, I wish I could have been more excited about it. I wish I could have at least thanked him. I was just so nervous, but no, honestly, that ticket, like, low-key changed my life. The last memory I will say with this person is during a project for that social studies class, and it was a group project, and whoever was sitting in your table group was going to be in your group project. So I was like, oh my gosh, I get to be in a group project with my crush. Like, this is gonna be so much fun. Like, you know, the typical excitement you get when you get to work on a project with your crush, right? And so I walk into class that day and I'm so excited. And you know what, guys? He shows up late. And because he showed up late, the seat next to me was empty. So another guy, actually, someone I actually didn't like at all, he stole his seat. He took his empty seat, which meant that I was now in a group project with this guy that I didn't like, and my crush came late and ended up being in another group. The table next to mine, actually. And I was so sad. Like, the one chance I could have been able to talk to him more was ruined. So yeah, I basically held a grudge on this other guy for the entire year, basically, because who knows what would have happened if my crush and I were able to be on that project together, but it's okay. It's fine. And to make matters worse, I actually remember this project ended up being really bad. Long story short, there was like a mishap with the group project, and when it was our turn to present, we low-key got in trouble, and we were getting scolded in front of the entire class, in front of my crush too, by the way, and I was standing there trying to defend myself and trying to defend everyone in my group. And yeah, that was embarrassing. I was also wearing a high bun at that time of my life. Like, every day I wore a high bun. And I was so traumatized by that experience that I never wore a high bun to school ever again. Ever again. Not even in grade 12, not even in grade 11. Like, I never wore my hair in a high bun ever again after that experience. So, yeah. Looking back now, it was really funny. And I actually remember after that class, I went up to my teacher one-on-one and no one was in the classroom anymore. I came up to her and just totally defended myself again and defended the project. And I was just so passionate, guys. I don't know. We also did have square dancing. And I think this one year I had PE with my crush and I was able to square dance with him too. So we did hold hands, guys. We did hold hands. But I think that's all I had to say for this person. I think this crush ended in grade 11. Or no, even 10. Yeah, no, I think grade 10 was like the final straw. If you happen to be listening to the Love and Lore podcast, then hi, thank you for making my grade 8 year very, very fun and eventful. And I'm sorry if I ever came across as rude to you. I was just so nervous and didn't know how to talk to boys. My second crush, I honestly don't know if I want to expose too much, but but this one was more towards grade 12. Yeah, let's just say that. Guys, should I say the details? I feel like I should. Okay, maybe I'll cut this out. But this guy was actually in the theater program, and I'm pretty sure it was just because of proximity and the fact that we got to see each other all the time. It's the proximity effect, guys. It's the proximity effect. But I think that's all I'm going to say for the second person. But I did have a big fat crush on you. But the most biggest like boy thing that happened to me in high school was prom, because I did get asked to prom, which was so insane to me because like I said, I didn't talk to boys at all. No one paid attention to me. So the fact that I did get asked to prom was super, super cool. If my prom date is listening to this episode, I'd just like to say hey, and I hope you're doing amazing. And I will forever look back at this era of my life with so much joy and gratitude. And it was such a crazy, crazy time. And it's really rare that you get to experience something like that. So it's just, I don't know, it's just so cool. But yeah, shout out to my prom date if you're listening to this. And then for talking stages in high school, like I said, I didn't talk to anyone at all. I think I had like one talking stage, but it was really bad. It was really, really bad. Yeah, I don't have anything to say much about that. And then obviously, you know, there's those little hallway crushes here and there, but honestly, not much happened in high school. In the summer of the year I graduated high school, there was actually someone else that I did like. And this era of my life was like 3 to 5 or 6 months long. And I had a really big crush on this guy as well, okay? So much so to the point where I actually did tell him I liked him. I remember my feelings for him were so strong, I could not hold it in anymore. I could not hold it in. And I even consulted with my friends, my cousins, and I did it. I texted him, and guess what, guys? I got rejected. Looking back now, I feel like I literally went through the stages of grief. I was very, very much in denial. Like, I remember looking at the text, he clearly said no, but I just remember thinking, like, what if he's joking? Like, he has to be joking, right? I remember feeling really mad. I remember feeling so angry that I started to look at other girls on TikTok and be like, how can I look like that? How can I look like them? And yeah, also got super sad, shed some tears here and there, and just really like did not handle it that well. I think it took me like 4 months to get over, but it was an era. Looking back now, I definitely did misinterpret the situation, and if he is listening to this, then hi. I hope you're doing so well. Like, honestly, I hope you're doing amazing. It was just definitely a time in my life that took me a bit to get over, but you know, we got over it. If anything, I look back and I'm super proud that I did that. Like, who would have thought that Sophie would confess to someone knowing how not romantic she is? Like, that's crazy work. But honestly, like, when you like someone and you just have that feeling that you cannot control how much you like them anymore, and you just need to confess, go for it. Honestly, go for it. Even though you might get rejected, it teaches you so much about confidence and bravery. And you just never know, right? Like, I think it's worth the shot anyways. And if they don't like you back, then that's totally fine. Like, at least you get that clarity and at least you get some sort of closure. Even though it's horribly, horribly heartbreaking, at least you get some sort of closure and you don't have to waste your time liking someone that doesn't even like you back. Okay. Something I will say though, which I'll also get into a lot deeper later, but the thing with talking stages and liking boys and liking people in general is it's so much fun. Don't get me wrong, it's so much fun, but it's just so exhausting. It's very, very exhausting because when you like someone and you're in that talking stage, it consumes your mind so much. Like, I haven't had a talking stage in a long time, but when you do like someone, the way it just eats you alive, and it's the way that you think about this person every single day, it physically does something to you. Like, it alters your brain chemistry, and you start to make your decisions based off of them and based off of your interactions with them. And you start to place your self-worth off of the situations you have with them. And I saw that pattern a lot in myself, especially in high school and especially with anyone who I ended up talking to. I placed a lot of my self-worth off of them, and that is not really the healthiest thing ever. But it's so hard to deal with because it's also so exciting. And again, I will get into this later, but that's just kind of the thought process. So when I got rejected, it was in a way sort of peaceful for me because I didn't have to endure that cycle of needing that validation from him anymore and overthinking every single interaction with him. And just knowing that, I don't have to overthink about it anymore. That closure was needed for me, but it was also very heartbreaking. So I guess in a way, like when you do confess your feelings and you do get rejected, I would just say to reframe your mindset as a very peaceful ending. And at the end of the day, you were still brave enough to express your feelings, which takes a lot of courage, But I'd just like to thank him for that experience too. All right, so it's university time. So I've actually never had a serious crush on anyone in my 4 years of university so far. And it's really hard. Like finding friends in general in university is hard itself, let alone a crush. I will say there are many beautiful people on my campus. There are many beautiful people that I've seen in lectures, in the hallways, but I've never had a crush on anyone. I've never had a talking stage with anyone. I will say there has been one scenario or situation that happened in my first year that was kind of, I guess, the most plot I've ever had romantically, okay, on campus. I was studying, and mind you, my hair in this era was so short. It was crazy short. This doesn't add anything to the story. I just want to say that my hair was stupid short in this time of my life. Okay, it was my first year spring semester, and I was studying in image theater, like the study cubicles downstairs, and this guy sits next to me, and then a few minutes later he turns to me and asks, "Are you part of any clubs on campus?" To which I respond yes, and then I tell him about the club I'm in. Long story short, we ended up talking and exchanged Instagrams. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, this boy was actually pretty attractive. Like, he was very conventionally attractive. And so I was like, okay, like, all right, Sophie, okay. So yeah, we text a little bit, and I'm kind of feeling the conversation a bit, and I didn't really like it. I will say I didn't really like the way he texted, but we did end up scheduling a day and time to meet a few days later, and let me just say, long story short, it did not go well at all. I think I can save this lore for a different day, but yeah, it wasn't good. Okay. I remember he did message me after that meetup thing, and he was like, "Not gonna lie, you made me kind of nervous and we'd be pretty compatible." And I don't even think I answered him. I think I left him on scene. But I will say, like, I'm still pretty grateful for that experience. Like, I don't know how rare it is or how common it is, but for someone to just ask you straight up for your Instagram when you're studying, I don't know, I find that really cool. It definitely plots into my plot. But yeah, like honestly now I still, even in tutorial, I don't think I've ever liked anyone in any of my tutorials. And tutorials are low-key my only hope too, because they are the only times where you can be in a classroom, a small classroom full of people. I don't think I've ever liked anyone in any of my tutorials. So yeah. I will say, like, I have had crushes on people at work, and okay, the work ones are weird because it really is just the proximity effect, guys. I'm not even kidding. Like, the people that you have crushes on at work are so bizarre because you never would like them if they weren't your coworker. This guy that I liked at work, I don't think I ever would have gone for him if it wasn't for the proximity effect. I don't know what happened there, but yeah. But I think for work, I've had two pretty solid work crushes, and yeah, we'll just end it there because they might be listening to this. Okay, so that was my lore on crushes and boys and talking stages and all my love life. I really exposed a lot of myself just now. Like, I've never done anything super romantic other than like holding hands or dancing for square dancing or dancing on prom night. Like, I've never done much at all. To which, like I said, doesn't really bother me that much because I've never been a super romantic person. And I'm going to dive into that more right now, actually, and talk about more like deeper stuff about validation and attention and all that stuff. So I'm actually pretty excited to talk about this stuff because I think it's so important and a really important aspect of my life that I don't really talk about often. And I hope that some of you can resonate. Okay, so yeah. So I've strongly stated that I've never needed a relationship. I never needed someone for external validation. But I'm not going to sit here and say that everything has been all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies, right? There have been many scenarios and situations where I have questioned my self-worth because of my lack of experience with boys, right? And I think it's something that a lot of girls can relate to. When it comes to rejection or attention, you start to place your self-worth based on that. And I did touch on this earlier, right? But when it comes to like talking stages and situationships and crushes, they are so much fun, but my whole personality just turns into whatever situation I'm in. And I start to overthink every single scenario with them, what I could have done to make it better, what I could have done to make them happier, or I would overthink our last conversation, or if they weren't responding to me enough, I would question myself and be like, what did I do wrong? And it just becomes a super tiring and exhausting cycle. And yeah, despite how fun crushes can be, it can also be very, very exhausting like that. I've also opened up in the past about how much I compare myself to people, and it's true, I compare myself all the time to people, especially to, the girls in my class that don't have problems at all talking to boys. Like, for me, I've always been so awkward and shy. I would be like, why are they so comfortable and confident with talking to boys, but I'm not? I would put that back on me, like maybe I am not worthy, or I don't know, and I'm not cool enough, which shouldn't be the case. Like, your coolness is not based off of whether a boy talks to you. Like, make that make sense. And then I'd be like, oh, maybe because they're all just prettier than me, or they play this sport but I don't, or they can do that but I can't, and it just becomes a whole cycle of self-comparison. And I think when it does come to relationships, I feel like I just like the idea of it, but never wanting to be in it, if that makes sense. Like, I've also noticed this pattern in myself that whenever I do have a crush, it's like so much fun, right? But as soon as they start to show any sort of romantic interest towards me, I just get so icked out. So icked out. Which is so interesting. There's this quote that I heard on TikTok, this saying that's like, if you want to get over someone, the best way to get over someone is to learn more about them, which resonated with me so much because it's that mysteriousness, right? Like, when you like someone you barely know, it's because you barely know them, right? They're mysterious to you and you like that. So yeah, I guess for me, when that mysteriousness breaks and I get to know more about them, it's just like kind of like, I don't know anymore. And when they show romantic interest in me, I'm like, go away, please go away. I've even attributed my awkwardness to boys with my attachment styles to my parents when I was younger. Like, I don't know, like, what, like, why am I thinking about this, Like, your worth is not determined by a boy. But yeah, like I said, I don't want a relationship. I've never needed a relationship. I don't need one right now either. Like, I'm so, so happy with myself. And when I grow up, if you listen to the episode with Kyla and Alika for 12 Days of Lore, I think I even mentioned how excited I am to move out and have my own single bed. Emphasis on the single bed because I truly just want to live alone. I want to be independent. And I'm so, so grateful for all the amazing friends that I have in my life, guy friends and girlfriends that I have in my life. They're all so amazing. And it's still like, this part of my life is still something I'm figuring out. And it's okay. It's okay. This is also super scary to admit online too, but I think it's such an interesting and fun part of life to talk about, right? And I'm really scared to post this, but it's okay. It's okay. Having a crush is so much fun. Having a talking stage is so much fun. Giggling with your friends about it is so much fun. But you don't need to base your self-worth off of the person you're talking to. You're beautiful and perfect no matter what. As long as no one's getting hurt in the process, have fun and enjoy this part of your life because this stuff only ever happens so much, right? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode and you got to learn a little more about me, and I hope everyone has an amazing, amazing rest of their February. I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!